So yesterday we spoke about equipment for people who could not be with us yesterday. Yesterday we considered the importance of dental photography and documentation. Then we went ahead and we compared two DSLR cameras, namely Canon 700D and Canon 6D. One is a crop sensor and one is a full frame. We concluded that full frame is not needed at all. It is expensive, heavy, and not at all needed for dental photography and documentation. On the other hand, a crop sensor DSLR is much more user friendly, much more light in weight, and it has all the features that a dentist requires. After considering the camera, we went on and understood that the lens that we want to use for dental photography and documentation. Okay, so you need to understand this. It does not matter if it's intraoral photography, extraoral photography, or tabletop photography. The only lens that we use ever is a 100mm macro lens. So you have to have a great 100mm macro lens, probably the best. Then we went ahead and saw what is the difference between externally focusing and internally focusing lens. My advice is please don't go for externally focusing lenses. An example of which would be a Tamron 90mm. This is one lens that you definitely don't want to go for. And then we went on and considered we should not have image stabilization in our lens because it makes everything very heavy and really difficult to use. So please don't buy a lens with image stabilization. Hence we rounded up on a lens with we rounded up with a lens that's 100mm in focal length, a macro lens without image stabilization. So the best example of that would be a Canon 100mm macro lens, the golden ring one, not the red ring one. After considering the lens, we went on and we understood what are the different kinds of flashes. The different kinds of flashes that we use in dental photography and documentation. In fact, I wanted to show you all. I have already set up the entire stuff for today's live session. We have all the flashes that are possibly available in the market today, and we are also going to be using the softbox. I'll just set this up for you during the live sessions just to make you understand how easy it is to set it up. So we understood that we have inbuilt flash, we have a ring flash that's currently attached to my Beast, that's 6D. We have a twin flash and we have a studio light. So currently, since I don't have a studio light, I'm going to be making use of this guy. This is called as a speed light. So I like to use this one. It's YN 560 Mark 3 and Mark 4. This is the older version, so this is by Yongnuo. So since I don't have the studio light, I'm going to be putting this softbox on this guy and use it as a softbox for all the different kinds of tabletop photographies. So we have all the flashes here and we're going to be doing tabletop photography. Unfortunately, I don't have any prosthesis, but I could catch hold of one extractor tooth. So we'll be doing our entire session of tabletop photography on this small guy. That's an upper premolar. So entire tabletop photography setup. So we start off with our slideshow. So what I have done clearly is I have divided tabletop photography into parts such that I am starting off with the most easy form of tabletop photography. Alright, so the most easy form of tabletop photography is to keep it on an aesthetic platform. For example, in this case it would be a flower. So you can use flower as your platform and you can keep your prosthesis like laminates or veneers or anything that you would like to keep it on, and it looks really nice if you take a picture of your prosthesis on a flower. I have used a softbox, that's why the flower as well as the prosthesis is looking amazing. But if you use an inbuilt flash for this purpose, it's not going to be looking that great. However, you can work with an inbuilt flash, there's no doubt about it. Alright, so this is the simplest form of tabletop photography wherein you are keeping your prosthesis already on an aesthetic looking platform. So this is the simplest. Next we move on to the second simplest method of tabletop photography, that would be getting a picture with a black background. So I'll be showing you how to get this. This is one of the simplest methods to use, and it's very fast to do, and it's amazing. If when you see it, you will not believe how simple it is to take a picture with a black color background. So this is the second one. Before we start off, I wanted to tell you that the studio light setup that I use in my clinic is by a company called as Elinchrom. So you can read it out here. This is Elinchrom FRX 400 Pro kit with Skypod transmitter. This is what I usually recommend to all the people who want to do good studio light photography. So this is the light that you get along with it. This is, you can see the cost of this is around 32,500, which is quite inexpensive. What do you get in 32,500? As you get two studio lights, two light stands which look like these. This, by the way, is called as a light stand. This is not a tripod. This is what qualifies as a tripod. This is a tripod. This is a light stand. So don't get confused between the two. So whenever you buy Elinchrom FRX 400 kit, you get two lights, two light stands, two soft boxes that would when you open it up, it becomes like this. When it's fully open, it is square. It's amazing. And you also get a transmitter which transmits the signal and tells the flashes when to fire. So everything in 32,500 is a great deal. It's not expensive at all. Coming to who all can use this, anybody who has a camera which supports a third-party flash can use the studio light. All right, so it works on Canon, Nikon, any camera can support this studio light, but the only thing is that camera should be supportive of a third-party flash. For example, yesterday I gave examples of entry-level cameras. Canon 1500D and Canon 1300D are almost the same cameras. In fact, Canon 1300D is an older camera. Both of them are fairly basic. They are the entry-level cameras, but 1300D supports third-party flash. However, the recent generation of that same camera, which is 1500D, which is more recent, it does not support a third-party flash. So any flash which does not support a third-party, any camera which does not support a third-party flash is a big no-no if you want to do amazing tabletop photography. So please don't buy cameras which do not support a third-party flash. So instead of 1500D, go and hunt for a camera like 1300D, which is old, which still supports a third-party flash. If you are not getting hold of 1300D, maybe you can go ahead and you can buy 800D or 750D. 550D Ragini does support a third-party flash. So what I'm saying is, all the old cameras, they are going to support a third-party flash. 550D will support, 500D will support, 1100 will support, 1200 will support, 1300D will support. But the newer cameras, the company is not allowing the use of a third-party flash in it. Hi Sana, hi Ragini, hi everyone. So I hope you understood. Yesterday, one of you suggested that if you are using inbuilt flash, you should put a tissue around it. You definitely can. It acts as a diffuser, but there's something even more cool that you can use, and it looks much more professional as compared to tissue paper on the inbuilt flash, which is this. This is Shoaib Sheikh 200D. Canon does not support a third-party flash. So what I'm saying is, instead of putting a tissue paper which will make your camera look like a mess like this, what you can do is you can buy an inbuilt flash diffuser like this. It is amazing when it performs. It is just a piece of plastic. Basically, a diffuser is nothing but a white color piece of plastic. So you can see different kinds of DIY diffusers that people have made. I've just taken a screenshot of this inbuilt flash, and this is the one that you get it online professionally. This is really inexpensive, and this can go on any kind of this can go on any kind of inbuilt flash. I have one as well, and it is very inexpensive, in the sense it is hardly 100 rupees. So if you want to see it, it looks something like this. It's there on my inbuilt flash right now. So if you can appreciate this, my camera is Canon 700D and this is the inbuilt flash for it, and the diffuser fits on the hot shoe like this. So you can just pull it out and remove it, and if you want to put it in, you just have to slide it inside the hot shoe. But this is really very effective as well. So the pictures that you get with this are much more amazing as compared to a picture without the diffuser. See, it is just a piece of white color plastic, it's nothing more than that, but it really works to diffuse the light. So it's very helpful for diffusing the light. So if you want a good result when it comes to good tabletop photography, I would say the key is good lighting. That's what you really want to have. Right, so if you are using a flash, what you can do is you can put a good diffuser. Tissue paper also works, but this thing looks much more professional. All right, so we were discussing about what we are going to be covering today. So this is the first thing. This is the simplest thing. When the platform itself is aesthetic, obviously the tabletop photography looks aesthetic. We'll try and get a black color background. It's a very easy technique for getting a black background. Then we this is also one more technique. So over here I have a black color background, but instead of using plain white color flash, instead of using a plain white color flash, I put a blue color gelatin paper over here. So this is how the image looks like. So you can play a lot with colors. You must have seen these kind of pictures on Facebook in which the surface texture is very clearly seen. We'll try and discuss how to get this surface texture. Next we'll move on to a completely different set of pictures, in the sense this is the prosthesis and how to get a reflection on the camera itself. This is not an edited picture. This is how we actually get it on our camera. Nothing is edited over here. We'll see how to get these reflections as well. Same picture, but with a black and white picture style. You can get this diffuser online on Amazon. It's available. It's less than 100 rupees. After this we move on to a completely different league. Instead of black background, we move on to white background. So you can say that the flower picture is the simplest picture of all. Then the next most difficult picture is a tabletop picture with a full black background. After that, with difficulty level, the next one comes tabletop with black background but with a reflection. And after that, the difficulty level increases if you don't have a studio light. So getting white background is slightly more difficult as compared to getting a black background. White background is tough, but the pictures look amazing, and even this is very simple. So if I wanted to say, whenever you have uninteresting or neutral looking color subject, it is better to keep a color contrast. So this is what we are going to be talking about later on in the session. And the most difficult shot is white background with a reflection. This would probably qualify as the most difficult image. And then we move on to the bonus session of today, that is super macro photography. This, guys, this is an awesome thing that you're going to be seeing today. I've never done a live on it, or I've never put it on YouTube as well. Super macro photography is an amazing thing, and you can see amazing stuff blown up. It looks so good, and one of the examples is right over here. This is using a special lens called as MPE65, which is right over here, and I'm going to be showing you all how to use this lens. Alright, another example of super macro would be this. This looks amazing, isn't it? Look at the details that you can appreciate with such pictures. So a lot to be covered today. We'll go back to the first picture. Alright, yeah, so I hope you all can see my workstation for today. This is what I'm going to be working with today. So what I'm going to be doing now is I'm going to be going out there, and I'm going to be starting with my tabletop photography. So my volume might go down. So I have seen a lot of people use inbuilt flash, And what they do is, as soon as they have a prosthesis, what they do is they keep it on a black color cloth, which I don't recommend at all. So for example, if I'm having this black color cloth, alright, and I do tabletop photography using this is not a great way of getting a black color background. So if you want to attain a black color background, please don't keep a black color background. It's just not needed. In fact, what's going to happen if you use a black color background is the texture of this cloth will start being seen. Let me take a shot and show it to all of you all. Since I'm going to be taking the shot with a 700D Canon, it does not have Wi-Fi, so as soon as I take the shot, I'll come over there and I'll show it to all of you all. So all I'm doing right now is I'm keeping my prosthesis. You can say this is my prosthesis. I'm just keeping it on the softbox. Okay, it's sliding a lot, so I need to increase the height of it. Yeah, so you can say I've stabilized my prosthesis, and I'm going to go ahead and start taking a picture now. So all I do is I've kept it at a maximum magnification of 1:1 that's available on any macro lens. All I have to do is go close and then come behind. So I'm going close and I'm going to take a shot now. As soon as you see a little bit of sharpness, you can go ahead and take a shot. So let me show you what the picture looks like. Yeah, this is what the picture looks like. It's not overexposed actually, but since you are watching it on my camera on Facebook Live, it's looking overexposed, but it's not overexposed. But the problem with this is, you can appreciate over here, the background is not fully black at all. So if you want a full black background, trust me, you're not supposed to keep a black color background. You don't need any background if you want to get a black background. So let's start off with trying and understanding how to get a perfectly black background. So what I'm going to be doing is, it's a very simple technique. Now what I'm going to be doing is, I can start my tablet. What I'm going to do is, I'm going to be connecting my camera to this thing, my tab, so you all can see what I am doing. So what I'm saying is, the basic process for getting a black background is there should be nothing in the background. In the sense, I'm going to be keeping a magnification ratio of 1:1 because that's how close I can go. Because this is a 100mm macro lens and the maximum magnification is 1:1. So what I'm saying is, there should be no background in front of my subject. So this is not going to be a good technique for me to take a black color background picture, because the table is right in front. If I point it like this, the wall is right in front. So what I can do is, I can angle like this and I can focus it on my tooth like this, but there has to be nothing in the background. Means you want space in the background. So what's going to happen is, the light is essentially going to illuminate your prosthesis, the extracted tooth in this case, but the light is just passing by behind it and is not getting reflected back onto the camera. So only the tooth will be illuminated and the background is going to be fully black. So let me show you all how we can go ahead and do that. Alright, so let me check if my flash still works. So this is what I'm doing. I'm not really sure if my flash will fire though. Yeah, so the problem with using a live view over here is, my flash won't fire if it's a third-party flash. Let me do that with a twin flash and show it to all of you all. So what we're going to be doing is, we'll see this picture with an inbuilt flash, we'll see this picture with a twin flash, and we'll see this picture with a ring flash and compare all the flashes, so you all can actually appreciate what difference it makes on tabletop photography. So what I'm going to do now is, I'm going to be putting my twin flash, because if I'm going to show you live, only my twin flash will work, because third party does not work on remote live view shooting. So everything is set. For people who are asking settings, my ISO and shutter never changes, it's always constant. ISO at 100 and shutter speed at 1/200. If you want to know the settings, f number, I try to keep it as high as possible, because I want a generous amount or deeper depth of field. So I'll be taking the prosthesis back in my hand, and if I keep it like this, so I have a world right in front of me, there's a very high chance that I might not get a black background. So let us go ahead and see what actually happens in this case. Oh, I can't use my viewfinder because the live view is on for all of you all to see. So instead of moving the camera, it's easier for me to move the tooth. So I'm moving the tooth and I'll go ahead and take a picture. So let us have a look at what the picture looks like. So this is the first image that I have shot, and you can appreciate, since the wall was right in front of me, I have failed to get a black color background. Alright, because the wall is right in front of me. So let me try and get a black color background now. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to open this door and create space for the background. So what is going to happen is the light is going to go in that direction and it's probably not going to come back. That's going to increase the chances of me to get a black color background. So let me just try and do that. Yeah, so now I have a lot of space. There is depth and that space is completely empty, although there is still a wall right over there. So I'm hopeful that I should get a black color background now. If I still don't get, I'll probably go like this because this is a farthest distance and the light, there is a high possibility that the light won't come back to me. So let me put the live view on for all of you all again. Right? And show you the same image, but this time my background is really far, so I'm hoping that the light won't come back to me and I should be able to get a black color background. Let's just see if I can get a black color background this time. So I'm used to putting my camera on my viewfinder, but since you all are seeing it live, I won't be able to use my viewfinder. I have to use my LCD so that you all can see. So instead of moving the camera, I'll move my tooth. As soon as it's a little sharp, I'll go ahead and I'll take a shot. Yeah, and we'll have a look at the picture. So that is what the picture looks like, and we have successfully managed to get a black color background. If you don't want your fingers to come in the picture, you can blow it up, you can crop it up, and you can present this picture in any of your slides or presentations. Let me get it closer for all of you all so you can appreciate the image much better. Yeah, so this is what the image looks like on my camera. Okay, so it's really simple to get a black color background, nothing to worry about it. Alright, so I hope that getting a black background was understood. This is the actual picture. It is not overexposed, don't worry, it is quite a good exposure, but since you're looking at through the Facebook Live, it's looking like this. So this was the first technique of getting a black background, and we have used a twin flash in this case. So if you want, I can show you the same picture with a ring flash as well, but I'll not be able to show you over there. All right, and then we move on to setting up of the speed light and show you the difference between all of them. Right, so let's go ahead and use the twin flash now. All right, so we finished the twin flash. I'm going to be using the ring flash now. I'm going to remove the twin flash. So this is called as the commander of any flash. So I've removed the commander. You just have to press a button and get it off. If you are a Nikon user, you will realize that it's not so easy to remove the R1 C1 twin flash. So what I'm going to be doing now is, I have mounted my ring flash and I have to put an adapter for this because this is not Canon's ring flash, it's a Yongnuo ring flash. So with this flash you get 4 adapters. You have to consider your lens diameter. So my lens diameter is 58, so I have put a 58 mm adapter, and then I'll be putting my flash unit inside it. So I'm all set. My flash power is at 1/8 power. Alright, and I'm going to be taking my subject again. I'm going to be checking my magnification ratio. My magnification ratio is 1:1. All I'm going to be doing now is I'm going to be going close. I'm going to move the tooth and As soon as I hear the beep, I'm going to go ahead and take a shot. So let us see how this image has come out to be. So this is the image with the ring flash. I've kept it slightly underexposed for you all to see because the twin flash image was looking slightly overexposed for all of you all. So this is what is the result with a ring flash. The concept remains the same. You should have nothing in the background so as to get a black color background. All right, so it's very, very simple. And now we move on to using inbuilt flash for the same thing. For people who think you have to have a ring flash or a twin flash, trust me, it's not needed at all. I've already taken this shot, but I'll show it to you once again with this diffuser. Once I take it with the diffuser, once I take it without the diffuser, and probably compare both the results. This one is going to be without the diffuser. Alright, now I'm going to be putting the diffuser inside. In order to put the diffuser inside, you just need to put the flash off. Put the diffuser inside only midway through, not fully. Then you open the flash and then you put the remaining inside if you want. But it does not matter if you put it on or not. While putting the diffuser, you have to see to it that the flash does not come out of the diffuser. In the sense, the flash level is below the level of the outer margin of the diffuser. Only then it will work fine. Right? So I've already taken one picture without the diffuser, and now I'm going to be taking one picture with the diffuser on it. So I'm going to be doing the same thing. Right, so let us see what both the pictures look like. So it's difficult for you all to actually appreciate because this is how it look. What I can help is reduce my LCD brightness. Maybe that will help you all to see the picture. This is too dark. I can increase the LCD brightness slightly. Yeah, so this is the one without the diffuser, and this is the one with the diffuser. With the diffuser one looks really good as compared to without the diffuser. Alright, so try to get your hands on this diffuser. Is just for 100 bucks, 100 rupees Indian. That's almost just $1.5 US. It's really effective and really